we're now in our studio, self-designed, and we're going to do a quick interview on the last of our focus topics for our Compagneur program.
No, but the last only for this month.
Only for this month, yeah. So as you know, we've been talking at length about targets. So this included SMART targets. We also talked about personal and professional,
long-term and short-term, and today we will talk about material and immaterial targets.
So let's go right into it. So let's start off with material targets. So why do we need material targets in an office, in a business context?
Well, so think about yourself being an employee, and you have different targets, as you said. SMART goals, so you define the SMART goals together with your manager, the long term and the short term. You know where you want to go with your career, and then it comes to the point, okay, bonus or incentives like a nice car, special treatment, for example in the fitness club where your company has some agreements with that you can have a discount on, or public transportation. A lot of companies have agreements with the cities that you can have a special discount on public transportation. That you have a bonus agreement, so for example if you reach one of your SMART goals, then you will receive some X for your work, or you have notebooks or company phones, so all the little gadgets that you are provided with to motivate you on the material side. And also it could be a target for you. So for example, if you want to have a company car, it could be a material target, and then again taking under consideration long-term, short-term and the SMART goals and the personal and professional goals that you can work yourself to the company car, for example. But talking about material, what are the immaterial then? So the material are easy to understand and to get,
and they're super easy to measure, and this is basically why companies do it and also why we strive for it. So if you have a scale that everyone knows how to measure, so looking on an hourly wage, if you make €1, this is really not enough to cover any kind of fixed cost. We even have a minimum wage of €8 something in Germany now. So there's a clear scale. Anything below that is sub the minimum, and anything above is subsequently much better. So this is really easy, and we're all trained to accept this as a common scale. Yet immaterial, as it is written here, is a bit tougher because it cannot be measured easily. So what are immaterial targets, for example, could be a self-actualization. So you want to do something great in your time. This is why, for example, you're striving for a specific project at your work. Or you say, well, my company should be much more engaged in society work, and you would like to build a club, form a society that helps, I don't know, kids getting educated after school, helping refugees integrate in your country or in your company, and if this is your driver, you want self-actualization via these goals. Also looking into your family, you say, well, how much money can I make? So I already make more than I and my family can spend, but really I miss my kids, I want to see them growing up. Then your immaterial target is to have more free time and to trade it in for higher wage, for example.
Yeah, and then again, work-life balance. Yeah? So the trigger word or the key word here is the work-life balance. So on an immaterial target side, it's always to balance it out, so to have the self-fulfillment on the one hand, and also covered the material targets as well, because also we are all here not just to have a self-fulfillment and have fun all the time. Of course, this is the best. But at the end of the day, we have to pay the bills, we have to pay the rents, and that's why it has to be kind of balanced out. And but from the immaterial side, so my bachelor thesis was about it. So the immaterial motivation, so of employees behind it. But the immaterial part is always kind of tricky. I mean, for example, if you are honored by your manager, then you feel great in the first minute, but what's the next step for that?
Okay. Would you agree then, also looking maybe first of all into companies who think about, what do I have to offer my employees, that the younger the people are, so when they just start out, they would be more triggered towards material, maybe they even have a grant to pay off, and then along the road, and as they get also more familiar with the company, and they find other ways of doing things, maybe they meet the person of their lives and so on. Would you then say this is a shift, or is it intrinsic that people are from the start at birth motivated either material or like intrinsic or extrinsically?
I would say that the generation X, Z and Y right now, they are not motivated by material targets anymore. So looking into these generations, for them it's more important really to have the work-life balance, to be flexible, to have opportunities to work from where they want to have flexible working hours, and also having another office setup. So not the typical ones as we have been working in our corporate world. It was like, you have a big office and everybody has his or her desk and all that. And now it's more shifting. So for example, Google is doing this really great, so that you have a free working space or a free working area. So, and if you feel today, so for example, I feel today like working in a, cafeteria or working in a plane or wherever, that you have the opportunity to do this. And this is then again motivating and building the company culture and giving another structure for that. So when for example I started, so our generation, this was clearly like, do you remember this advertising in Germany? My car, my boat, my wife, my house. Yeah, so it was like really clear the material targets behind. But nowadays it's more and more shifting, and the new generations, so to say, when they are entering the workforce or the work world, it's changing a lot, and immaterial became more important.
Well, probably it's something that evolves over time. So thinking in the 1990s when the first mobile phones came out, they were really big, they were really expensive. Talking on the phone cost 2 Deutschmark even then, and now of course euro, so it was really expensive. If you had a company that said, well, this is the phone, of course we expect you to work with it, but you also use it during your free time. This might have been a huge benefit financially, but then of course it's a status symbol if you walked around the city with your mobile phone and you were the only one. But looking into me and myself, when I received my first company phone, I said, okay, well, I've got the same one at home. I don't need two, and I don't want to carry around two, and especially I had the feeling that one of the triggers for the company was that I used my free time to check the company phone, and I didn't need all the good phones and all the extra minutes and Wi-Fi or data volume, because I already had that. So that was basically at the point where I was already, this need for me was satisfied, so I think it actually backfired.
Yeah, and this also like talking about Maslow, yeah. So and the pyramid of needs, you can break it down to that. Yeah. So for you, for other people, it is motivation, or it was like, oh my God, freaking out. I have a company phone, I can use it. But for you, it was like the other way around, and so it depends. It's really individually. And in my opinion, companies have to find their way for that, and it really depends on the company size, it depends on the industry, and also on the company culture, how they are handling material or also immaterial targets.
And the easiest or the only way to find out that is to get to know your people, talk to your people, and then think, of different incentive schemes, of course, if your company allows that. But since not everybody is motivated the same way, and everyone wants to be treated differently, so it's really best if you look at each and every person individually. And then, of course, apart from the material, everyone needs money to pay the bills, that's for sure. But if you want to do something good for them, and if you want to honor the effort they put into you and your company, then there's so many ways to look at it. And these two really help to, handle it a bit more easy and more efficient.
And get to the point. And I think now we also get to the point. The last topic of our target month. And next week we will start with the career development. And looking forward to see you there.
See you next week, and check out our articles on LinkedIn on Mondays and Thursday.